request. I think this might be the first time I've had this request before. It's for me to show how I trip plan a load. So it's I don't do it the way I used to back in the day when you had to look at atlases, road maps and stuff. You didn't have GPS and Google Maps and all that other stuff, and you actually had to get directions where you were going just to make sure you were in the right area. So it's a lot different now. It's a lot easier now, to be honest with you. So what we're doing is I'm talking to you and I'm looking at my iPad, and you'll be able to see what I'm looking at here right now. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Now, if you'll notice, this is a load I did the other day. This is picking up in Dillon, South Carolina at Harbor Freight Tools. I'm gonna zoom in on it where you can see where I'm at. Okay, now, it's giving me some options on routing to go to where I had to deliver up in Delaware, Ohio. Now, so what I did was I looked at the routes. I see which one's the furthest miles or which one has the most time. I also look at other things when I'm doing this to take into consideration traffic. I take into consideration where I can get fuel. And a lot of times, if it's a heavy load, which this was not, I'll also try to take into consideration things like mountain climbing. And try to avoid mountain climbing when possible. But anyway, what I did was I more or less went back the way I came when I came out of Charlotte. So you can see here, I ran back up, and coming out of Dillon, getting over to get on I-77 North, it's back roads, man. It is back roads. But I finally get up to 74, and that's a lot of 4-lane right there, 74. And then I run that over 220, and you can see I kept going, and I ran this all the way over until I run into I-77. All right, so you follow this over, and Mount Pilot, Rocky Mount over that way, and eventually coming in on 74, you will merge into 77. So anyway, but that's just sidebar information. Anyway, you don't need to know all that. So anyway, I knew I had to go up 77. I knew there was no way around it. I had to climb the mountain. I had to go up 77. I had to take the back roads up through Ohio to get up to where I needed to go. Where I was going was just north of Columbus, Ohio. So I get on 77, and I knew I was not going to be able, because I looked at my hours, and I knew even if I made it through traffic and everything else, I was not going to be able to make it from where I picked up in Dillon to where I had to deliver in Delaware without taking a break. Now, I had already did a 2-hour break earlier that day. And I do the 8-2 split a pretty good bit. If you watch my channel, you'll see I do a lot. The 8-2 split a pretty good bit. So anyway, I said to myself, well, I'll get up. I got to stop and get fuel, right? So the best place for me to stop and get fuel right now on this route here, I'm going up 77 up through Fancy Gap, up through the mountains there. All right, so here we come into Withville, I think that's how you said it. All right, so when I get to Withville, I know there's a TA, and I know I can get fuel, I can get a shower, I can do all that stuff while I'm doing my break, right? So I'm gonna do an 8-hour break. Now, here's the thing, I'm not gonna get back enough hours to make it to Delaware. I'm gonna be about an hour short. But the alternative is do a 10-hour break and drive straight there, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. But here's the problem that I had with doing that. If I did the 10-hour break and I drove straight there, that's fine. That's no problem. But me leaving Withville at 2:30 a.m. versus me leaving Withville at 4:30 a.m. If I leave Withville at 4:30 a.m., 3 hours later, I'm not even going to be close to Columbus. I'm just going to be making it through the mountains, and I'm going to be, let's see, where would I be in 3 hours time? I would most likely be up near, I think it's Beckley. Let's see. I'd actually be past Beckley, probably close to Charleston. It's probably close to where I'd be getting off of 64, getting on Highway, US Highway 35. Now, we're going to talk about US 35 in just a second. What I want to tell you is the reason that I decided to do the 8-hour break is because I would make better time leaving at 2:30 a.m. making it up near, making it all the way up to Circleville and not having hardly any traffic, because I can only drive for about 4 hours. So if I left at 2:30, it means I'm getting up there by around 6:30. That's just when traffic's starting to pick up, right? So I drive from 2:30 to 6:30. I'm in Circleville because there's no traffic. I mean, going up 77, climbing those mountains, if you see a slow truck, you just get over the far left lane and shoot straight on up, because there's no traffic to worry about, no four-wheelers. There's big trucks, but there's not a lot of four-wheelers. So you can get in that far left lane and get away with it. And that's what I did. I stayed in that left lane a pretty good bit because I had a light load and I just zipped right on up the mountain, no problem. You know, I was passing those slower trucks. Going down the mountain, same thing. I stayed out there. I was hauling the mail, zoom, 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 you know, getting around. And so that's why I chose that method, doing the 8-2. Now, let's get over to, because if you look at this here, it gives me two options. Here's the two options I have. All right, I can either stay on 77 a little bit further and take US 33. Now, I've been 33, I don't like it. A lot of two-lane, and just, I don't like it. That's just my preference. US 35, I'm familiar with US 35. I know places I can stop. I know where the truck stops are. I know where I can stop. And I wanted to stop at Walmart anyway to pick up some stuff. And I needed some shaving cream and some other stuff. So I decided to take US 35, stop at the Circleville, Ohio Walmart, which has truck parking and a big grassy lot for the duck man to run around and play. So I took US 35. Now on Google Maps, and you're looking at this Google Maps, you're seeing right now at this time of day, it's faster to go 33, right? 8 hours, 28 minutes versus 8 hours and 59 minutes. Now, at 2:30 a.m. in the morning, they're almost identical. The time, there's not that much difference in the time. It's like maybe 5 minutes. So there's not as big a difference. And it was way less than that amount of time. So I went ahead and took 35. I got up to Circleville, Ohio. Here we go. I'll zoom in on Circleville. And I'll show you the Walmart I'm talking about. All right, so here's the Walmart right here. And we park out here towards that big grassy square in the front of the building. We park out there, and Ducky's got all that grassy area there to run around and play. Use the bathroom or whatever. We did our 2-hour break. I got all the stuff I needed out of the grocery store. Made some more coffee. He got his break in. I got me a little, you know, about a 35, 45 minute nap. Got everything done, and we were ready to roll again. All right, so we jumped back on US 23 because 33 merged into 23 and then on up. So let's see, where do we go? Let's get back to Circleville. All right, so we're on 23, on 23, I'm sorry. We're on 23, and we take that on up, and we get up to Columbus. And then once you get into Columbus, let's back it up a little bit here. There we go, Columbus. I missed my exit to get off to go around the 270 loop, so I more or less went up through the middle of Columbus, and I still made pretty decent time. Traffic wasn't that bad, because when I hit it, okay, now I got to Circleville at 6:30, right? So I did a 2-hour break, so that puts me at 8:30. Well, another 30, 45 minutes getting up into Columbus. By now, all that morning traffic, people going to work, is gone. People done got to work, and traffic's not that bad. And I was able to zip right on up through there, and I made it on up to where I had to deliver at the New Harbor Freight store there in Delaware, Ohio. And So there you go. Another thing I take into consideration is, will there be truck parking at the receiver? Does it look like there's truck parking at the receiver? Is there somewhere next door? Is there somewhere I can squeeze in and park and be out of the way so I don't have to start my 14-hour clock going until we're ready to get unloaded and everything? These are all things that you need to take into consideration when you're planning your trip. I always try to stay at the receiver or the shipper, one or the other, because that way I don't waste my time. Because I could have, like this load right here, I could have left the trailer, dropped my trailer, bobtailed to the truck stop about 5 miles down the road and stayed there, you know. But why? Me personally, it's not going to help me, because I'm not eating the food in the truck stop. The only thing I need the truck stop for is to use the bathroom. And the place across the street where we parked at last night, they had a porta-john, so I use that over there. All right, so I have my own food, my own water, my own entertainment, everything I need in the truck. So it's better for me to stay at the receiver or stay at the shipper, because I don't have to waste that time off of my 70-hour clock. I don't have to waste that time off of my 14-hour clock, my 11-hour clock. So that's why I try to stay at the shipper receiver as much as possible, even if it's not directly at the receiver shipper and it's just across the street. Because you saw when we left a while ago, when we were coming over here, how bad the weather was and everything. We never tripped our ELD. Our ELD never went off. So we were able to preserve that 14 hours, preserve that 11 hours, and it's still intact right now. So when I get that green light and I can pull that trailer out and I hook to it, when I hit that highway out there rolling, I'm gonna have 14 hours on my 14-hour clock. I'm gonna have 11 hours of drive time. I can drive all of that, you know, and get way on down the road, versus me having to drive from the truck stop. Hopefully when I get here, the load's ready and I'm not wasting a lot of time on my 14-hour and on my drive time. So those are things you want to think about when you're planning your trip. Can I stay at the receiver? Can I stay at the shipper? Can I save that time and preserve it and use it for what I need it for, which is booking it down the road, getting where you need to get to. So those are all things that I take into consideration. I take into consideration 4-lane, 2-lane, 6-lane. I take into consideration the mountains. I take into consideration traffic. I take into consideration all that stuff, you know. Where can I stop at along the route? Is there somewhere good for me to stop? And not only good for me, but good for Ducky, you know, because I have him. I have to worry about him. So these are all things you want to think about when you're planning your trip. Now, the question was, how do you plan the trip so you're there right on time? There is no way. There is no way to plan a trip so you can be there exactly at the time you're supposed to be there. My whole theory is you want to be there 30 minutes early. Minimum of 30 minutes early. Because you don't know if you're going to be stuck in traffic for 30 minutes. So there's no way to plan to be there right on time. If you get there right on time like I did the other day up there in Delaware, it was luck. It was 100% luck. Because I missed my exit, I ended up going through town. That could have cost me 10, 15 minutes and made me late. There's just so many things that could go wrong. You can't plan to be there right on time. You can hope you're there on time, but the best thing to do is to plan to be there early. And then just, if you have to, sit out there and then just go check in when you're supposed to go check. Some people get mad if you get there early. So if you know they're gonna be mad for you getting there early, then you park out there a little way, you stay back, you watch your clock, Okay, I can go check in now, they won't be mad. And then you go check in. That's what you do. You don't try to get there right when they want you there and hope and pray, you know, that you don't have any issues. That's too risky. Don't do that. Try to get there early, always. My whole theory is if I'm supposed to be there at 10 and I get there at 10, I'm late. So I always try to get there early. So that's what I do when I plan a trip. I don't know if this is going to help you out. I hope it does. And you can see what I did here, where I stopped and got fuel there in Whitfield at the TA. I was able to get parking. I was able to use the shower, get my fuel, do everything I needed to do. I did an 8-hour break. The entire time I was there at that TA was approximately 8 hours and 10 minutes. I did the 8-hour sleeper break, 10 minutes in the fueling. It wasn't no 8.5 hours, you know, something like that. I got my fuel. As soon as I got my fuel, boom, I immediately went to the sleeper berth, creeped around to my parking spot and parked. Started my 8-hour clock, and as soon as that 8-hour clock was done, I was sitting at the edge of the driveway that pulls out onto the highway ready to go. It wasn't no driving around the building and doing all that other stuff. I was trying to maximize my time because I knew, you know, I had a 2-hour cushion, right? So I should have been okay, but I just don't want to take a chance. I try to use up every minute I can use up and save every minute I can save. And a lot of times when I park at the end of the day, I look down at my clock, I got 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of drive time left, or 1 minute or 2 minutes of 14-hour clock time left. I use it, man. I use it. I don't mess around. You know, I want to get there and have them, me waiting on them to get me unloaded. I don't never want the customer waiting on me. That's just not good. You get a really good reputation. You get a really good review. You become a demand. There's a demand for you when you get there on time or you're early and you don't have issues. And they're like, hey, that guy's dependable, man. He was early. Oh, he got unloaded a day early, a half day early. He was on time. There was no issues. That gets back to the agents. They know this stuff because they can see in real time what you're doing. So build up that good reputation. Get that reputation. And when it's time to get a load, you'll be able to get a load. So that's what I do, and that works good for me. Now, I hope everything I've told you helps you out a little bit. If there's something I didn't cover or you have a question about something, leave me a comment and I'll try to respond to you. If you want to talk to me verbally about it, you can go check out our Zello channel. Download Zello, Z-E-L-L-O, on your iPhone or your Android. And you can go in and search channels. And when you go in and search channels, just search The Trucker's Table. Try it as all one word. The Trucker's Table, all one word, scrooched together. See if that works. If that doesn't work, then try it the other way. The space, Trucker space table, you know, like that. And one way or the other, it'll come up. And when it does come up, you'll see the side of our truck. And if you zoom in on the picture, you'll see the duck man hanging his head out the passenger side door. So you'll know that's us. So come on over to Zello, and when I have time, I'll be happy to talk to you about trip planning and all this other stuff that I do. If you have questions or comments or anything, you can talk to me over there. I try to make myself available on that channel whenever I can, and as much as I can. Usually when I'm going down the road, I can listen, I can talk and stuff like that using my headset. I don't hold the phone in my hand, so don't think I'm doing anything dangerous. I'm just talking using my Bluetooth, which is legal. And I'll be happy to talk to you and tell you whatever I can tell you to help you out and answer questions for you and stuff like that. So, and it's a good place to meet other truck drivers that may have other ideas, stuff that I didn't even touch on. Maybe they can help you out with that. So I think there's a lot of information that can be gathered from the Zello channel, talking to other drivers, not just myself. So come on over anytime. We'd be happy to talk with you, all right? And I hope this video helped you out, and I hope that's kind of what you were wanting to find out. So thank you so much for liking, watching, commenting, subscribing. We really appreciate it. Y'all stay safe. Sunny side up, that old dirty, greasy side down. Keep it between the ditches. Don't haul no cheap freight. And don't never, ever stop punching.